we saw rows of lifeless bodies, some still in diapers, some with visible scars of a chemical weapons attack.
On Tuesday, Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad launched a horrible chemical weapons attack on innocent civilians.
Now to the apparent chemical weapons attack this morning in northwest Syria.
The White House is condemning that chemical attack that killed dozens of people, the worst there in years.
It was a slow and brutal death for so many, even beautiful babies.
Yesterday morning, we awoke to pictures, to children.
All 5-year-old Ibrahim knows as he went to sleep in his Spider-Man suit and woke up in a nightmare.
No child of God should ever suffer such horror.
Foaming at the mouth, suffering convulsions, being carried in the arms of desperate parents.
The question is whether the civilized world will do anything to stop what's happening in Syria, a barbaric, calculated military tactic to instill terror, producing a video record that cannot be ignored even as it's difficult to watch.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike in Syria.
We've seen, Wolf, it was a very bold tactical strike. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Israel that are going to be very happy. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Israel that are going to be very happy for this bold tactical strike.
Yeah, Anderson, I actually took some notes when we were talking about what the Secretary said, and I'll go back to reinforce what we all know. This was a very bold, tactical, retaliatory strike.
Just consider these things come November, because the media would have you believe that Trump would be quicker to start World War III than Hillary. The media would have you believe that Trump is the inherently violent pro-war candidate. Which I'm not saying if he gets in, he won't pull some shit, just like Obama, the hope and change pro-peacenik candidate. You know, these people are all liars. They're all liars. They're all politicians. I don't care. You can defend Trump all you want. He's a businessman. He's different. Whatever. Here we are. I told you so. And I took a lot of flack at the time for likening Trump to Obama. But I said it. I called it many other times. But, you know, digging through old video clips trying to find a 10-second soundbite, well, that's its own kind of hell right there. So I didn't even bother. I perused through some old videos of mine looking for the clips, and I said, because I know I've mentioned this, and there you go. So what is the comparison, you know, between Obama and Trump? It's because they're selling a symbol. They're selling a symbol, and the people who thought, you know, they were going to get hope and change all over again. This is the thing about political language. It's sweet. It's very sweet, but it's almost always lies. And you know, the gears of the American war machine are going to continue to grind, and they're going to continue to chew up innocent civilians. And, you know, we know this because of another video clip here. I'm going to let all the clips in this video speak for themselves. I'm not going to do too much voiceover here. I'm not going to give too much of my own opinion, because if you cannot put the pieces together, if you cannot put 2 and 2 together at this point, you know, there is just no hope for you as a thinking animal. There's no hope for you as a thinking person, because you do not possess the ability to think. If you can observe all of these things and not be able to set aside your biases, I mean, look at what's going on. So here's another clip, and this is General Wesley Clark, and he reveals the U.S. plan. And this was March 2nd, 2007. General Wesley Clark reveals U.S. plan to invade Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. Now, let's take a look at the list real quick before I show the clip. And then that'll be the end of this video, because I really don't have anything more to say except to present the contents within this video as they are. And like I said, let you do the math in your own head. So now we have Iraq. Now this is a video that came from 2007, but of course the American military industrial complex has been pushing this, and international bankers have been pushing this, and Boeing and Lockheed Martin and Big Oil. Has been something that's been going on since 1997. I mentioned it in many other videos. The Project for a New American Century, Bill Kristol, and here's a tweet from him, a lovely tweet. I'm a never Trumper, but I'll totally get on board for war. Yeah, and he'll be the last one to volunteer to fight. He'll be the last one to volunteer his body for the front lines. You know that. I know that. We all know this. I mean, if you can't see this, and, is Trump just a puppet? I know some people are going to rationalize it, and they're going to say, well, we're going to blame his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Oh, it's Kushner's fault. If you had listened to Bannon. Okay, sure. Now, you can go ahead and rationalize any way you want. When that war machine starts grinding, there's not enough bravado in the world. Even the size of Trump's bravado, if he could somehow throw the mass of it, and it is massive, underneath the gears, so that he could physically stop the machinery of the American war machine, it would not be sufficient enough. It would not. Think of all the lives it's already chewed under its treads. So here we have Iraq. Done. We've got Somalia. A lot of people don't even know this. We're in Somalia right now. Barack Hussein Obama expanded the U.S. military from 2 wars, Afghanistan, Iraq, and then we went to Somalia and Yemen. So here we go. Somalia, that's ongoing. Sudan, we've been to Sudan. That's done. Libya, that's done. We all know. I don't have to even go into Libya. Syria, ongoing. Lebanon, this is planned. I mean, wait. Right? Right now, it's April 7th as I'm recording this. Just before midnight on April 8th. Okay? Mark my words. Lebanon, you're going to hear that mentioned in the news. Iran. We've already seen some of the Iran stuff, but it's going to get worse. And, we've already heard the rhetoric from Trump in regards to Iran. So we know. So that's going to be that's also, look for that on the radar. Judge for yourselves. All links in the description. Research it for yourselves. Don't take my word for anything. As always, research it for yourselves. Really look at it and ask yourself the question, am I being fair? Am I being biased? Am I letting my love, my belief that this guy is finally the hero? I mean, think about it. You're behaving, when you looked at an Obama supporter, when you knew he was doing something wrong, and you saw the sycophants who would excuse away every misdeed, look in the mirror and ask yourself the question, am I acting as one of those types of people? And really answer it honestly. Okay, here we go.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."